It's been an incredible week out at Wonderland. Can they continue the run? Melbourne Victory is the latest team to venture out to Sydney's West and take on a Western Sydney Wanderers team that has revived their Liberty A-League season in quite spectacular fashion. No surprise to see that young fans and seasoned fans are making their way in to the home of the Western Sydney Wanderers in keen anticipation of what this team can do next after defeating the top two teams on the table in their last two outings. It's a warm afternoon in the west of Sydney, but the Wanderers are not making too many changes to the side that beat Western United on Saturday. In comes Sheridan Gallagher returning from suspension. Sophie Harding moves to the bench as a result, and Kush LaRue drops out of coach Cat Smith's matchday squad. Melbourne Victory, they are on a shorter turnaround after playing the derby on Sunday, reflected by Elise Kellond-Knight, the Matilda, dropping out of the team, rotated and rested. In comes Nat Tatham and Amy Jackson to the starting 11. Paige Zoyce moves to the bench, and Maya Markovski is added to the matchday squad. There's Cat Smith. Amazingly, was interim head coach of Melbourne Victory all the way back in 2016 for a single game, and had to wait all the way until just over a week ago to experience winning at this level as a head coach again. Now, she's on a two-game winning streak. It's going to be the Dane Rika Madsen to take kickoff here with Alex Chidiac. Victory to attack the right of your screens in the first half. Midweek action in the Liberty A-League. And it's Western Sydney Wanderers against Melbourne Victory. And Alex Chidiac is on the attack straight away from kickoff out to the left. And Nat Tatham with a miscontrolled pass there. And probably the big talking point in pre-game, Leah, was that Elise Kellond-Knight has been rested for this match, coming up off a 4-day break from playing on Sunday. Understandable from Melbourne Victory at this point of the season?
Definitely. We knew there'd be a bit of squad rotation for Jeff Hopkins going into this match, given the schedule and the travel that's been involved for this squad.
Alana Murphy plays the ball out to Jessica Nash. And Nash allowed to take a stand and then play the ball over to the right, lunging in, trying to make possession work once, twice, eventually knocked away from Leah Privatelli. Malia Steinmetz is there. I imagine it would be a tough day for Steinmetz and Bunge, watching their national team teammates play against the US. It's a marquee opponent. You know that a lot of people in America are going to be watching. It's a game you want to be a part of, but due to the curious nature of where New Zealand booked those friendlies, they have to line up and play here today rather than join their international teammates that were released for the game.
It definitely will be, and it's not uncommon across the world where professional clubs at different points don't make players available for international activity.
Here's a pass back from Claire Hunt to the goalkeeper. Speaking of Americans, Jordan Bloomer slicing the clearance, and now Beth Gordon takes possession. Gives the ball away to Kayla Morrison, who repels, playing the ball out to the left, and Beattie Goad, restored to a more natural midfield role today, is going to slide across in and just test the goalkeeper early, going to ground. Jordan Bloomer holding on there, full of energy, but deciding just to hold things up. And now Western Sydney Wanderers will look to play out from the back.
And it'll be interesting to see this matchup between Goad and Apostolakis, given that Goad is a naturally left-footed player. Apostolakis is going to obviously look to try and force his player inside onto her right foot.
One to watch as the game goes on. Here's Sheridan Gallagher up against Jessica Nash. Ball runs out. Gallagher scored last time she was on the pitch here at Wanderers Football Park against Melbourne City, but then also picked up a fourth yellow card of the season, meaning she was out suspended. There's Rika Madsen being marked by Lauren Keir in the early exchanges. The ball's not going to quite make it to them as it's headed away initially by Danica Matos. Now it does. Madsen straight to Amy Harrison. Claudia Bunge with the clearance. And now Keir across the defensive line to Claire Hunt. It's going to hit a long ball, hoping for the speed of Serena Bolden. And Kayla Morrison, well, initially outpointed Bolden, but that matchup will be a very intriguing one today, given the straight line speed that the Filipino attacker possesses.
It definitely will be, and just in terms of the Wanderers formation, typically they do set up in that 4-4-2, so the centre backs for Melbourne Victory are actually going to be overloaded at times in that 2v2 scenario.
Well, is that a case of it working right there? Long, hopeful ball down the right, goes straight out for a goal kick. Wanderers get it back?
Absolutely. You don't want a team like Melbourne Victory being able to play through you.
Giveaway here, though, could prove dangerous. Tatham, early ball, headed away by Hunt. And so Wanderers their own worst enemy there, inviting pressure on. Claire Hunt marshalling the defence, wearing the captain's armband. And there's Jeff Hopkins, Melbourne Victory coach, perhaps a bit happier with his team's attack at present. Oh, and a slip here from Bloomer, and that was a great chance for Privatelli. Definitely wasn't expecting the ball to squeeze through there. Now Nash. Victory perhaps buoyed by some shaky Wanderers defending. Murphy plays the ball back to Nash. And now Keir does well to shield it. Well, a needlessly nervous moment there.
And as I touched on, in terms of Beatty Goat on that left foot, you have to deny that service. In terms of Bloomer dominating that 6-yard zone, that's her ball all day. She's got to come out with more presence.
Jordan Bloomer hasn't played every minute of every game. There was the second Sydney derby where Bloomer was subbed off for Sham Karmas, but has gone and got the gloves back and held them since during this 3-game unbeaten run. Through the left for Beatty Goad, and the ball is put behind for a corner by Apostolakis. Wanderers here, a couple of shaky moments, the Bloomer non-collect, and now a couple of times they've coughed the ball up deep in their defensive third.
Definitely unsettled in this back third at the moment, and I'm not sure they're going to become settled given that this Melbourne Victory side have scored 5 goals off corners this year, and we're about to have to see how they match up with Kayla Morrison and Claudia Bunge in this moment.
So here comes the corner for Murphy to the near post, and it's almost turned in for an own goal. Bloomer saves the day. It was bouncing through the 6-yard area, and fortunately for Sheridan Gallagher, it was a looping up and under touch that allowed the goalkeeper to come in and grab the ball. It was clever initially. Amy Jackson, the player, trying to flick it on, and off the shoulder of Gallagher, it is held onto by Jordan Bloomer, the keeper.
And we've definitely almost seen Gallagher with the assist on that effort. It's bounced awkwardly where she actually just has to bend her knees and head it in terms of the clearance, not chest it.
Steinmetz up against Jackson. And his last touch off the New Zealand midfielder, Malia Steinmetz. 24 years old now. Appearance number 30 in the A-League Women's today, Steinmetz, who has previously played at the Perth Glory. Keir to Gordon, and now Apostolakis. A couple of aggressive passes to open up the pitch, but Tatham is able to shark this one. And so Victory are the ones who benefit breaking into open space. Here's Tatham, an early ball, Rika Madsen in the middle, and it's off the post. Oh, nearly a first goal for the Dane in A-League Women's, but the chance goes begging. I'll tell you what, the contact after the shot there looked a little curious too. Maybe Jordan Bloomer a little fortunate the referee didn't take more of an interest.
Again, I'd be asking the question in that moment. Beautiful weighted pass in there by Tatham. In terms of Madsen and the finish, I think with her momentum, she uses the inside of her left foot and looks to beat Bloomer that way.
I mean, the finish is missed, but Leah, is this a foul on Madsen after the chant? Is that a foul by the keeper afterwards? Jackson, here's Madsen trying to show that straight line speed. This is Rika Madsen's biggest strength, crossing it in for Beatty Goad. And good luck controlling that. It came in at such an awkward thigh height there for Beatty Goad, and it goes straight out for a goal kick. But Madsen there got us excited. Look at started a step or two behind Keir and was able to burn her off.
Does really well to step in front of Keir, where Keir's only choices are to slow down or foul, and we saw that she looked to slow down. In terms of the delivery, it has to be much better than that. Maybe she dribbles end line and goes herself. Goad was outside that front post zone.
Really tough cross to control there for Beatty Goad. Shouts for fouls once, twice. Eventually the referee's whistle comes to Wanderers' aid. Amy Harrison is clearly not happy, thinks a card should be produced. And well, there you go. You don't ask, you don't get. There's going to be a card. And the referee here is going to point at Amy Jackson, I believe, and issue the yellow card. Let's have another look. Yeah, Jackson's the primary offender there, making contact. Alana Murphy was joint venture, but Jackson's the one who goes in the book.
And And it definitely was a foul. Sheridan Gallagher has done really well to step in front of the two defenders there, and I touched on the decisions you have as a defender in those moments to either foul or slow down, and Jackson's chose the first one.
Looking at that chance for Beatty Goat a moment ago, hasn't scored in the A-League Women's since the 2016 Grand Final. Wanderers just trying to find a goal today. Gallagher clever and held on to by Dumont. It might have been sliding wide off the head though.
And that's a really nice build-up by Western Sydney. You see Steinmetz just come off the shoulder to receive that pass in those spaces between this Victory midfield. It's a well-weighted delivery, excellent timed run. I don't mind that opportunity.
Straight back in then, Jess, straight back in.
Here is Apostolakis, the right back, getting forward, trying to return fire on Beatty Goat here, but she can't link up with Serena Bolden.
And that's the perfect example. It's that final pass, whether it's played the wrong side of somebody, whether it's weighted appropriately. They're the issues for this Western Sydney side right now.
Into the final minute of regulation. Western Sydney through Apostolakis. Clever from Gordon. Great pass to open up space for Amy Harrison. Bending it into the box. Gallagher's there. Dumont's out. The net's open potentially. No, Dumont back on the feet. And Serena Bolden's shot was blocked. Well, a hair-raising moment for Victory, and Wanderers saved their best attack right for the end of the half.
And Dumont's done really well there in terms of her explosiveness off her line to come out and just collect. Very brave. She comes in head first against a oncoming Sheridan Gallagher.
Apostolakis starting to get more and more into the attacking half, and it's certainly correlated with Wanderers looking a little bit more threatening, but a pass like that is easy pickings for Dumont.
And they're really lacking width in this final third. We're seeing players in positions where they're receiving it and looking to advance the ball, but they don't have players in wide areas, given that they've got two target central strikers and narrow midfielders.
Ball knocked out to the right. Matos again has position on Privatelli here, but that pass is coughed up. Privatelli with a little interrupting touch, and Madsen leaves it with Jackson. All the way back to Morrison. Last minute of the allocated 3. Will there be a goal before half-time? Not with a pass like that necessarily. Ball did go out over the line for a throw. Just a reminder that if this game does end in a draw, Victory will hold on to 4th spot with 15 points, 2 ahead of Adelaide on 13. And the Western Sydney Wanderers will be in 9th place with 8 points, meaning that they would be 7 adrift of the top 4. And for both these teams, today is the halfway mark of the season, game number 9 out of 18 in the home and away. So it'll be mid-season report cards for both at full time today. The question is, who's going to be the happier of the two? Gordon hung the pass out in front of Apostolakis. Tatham came across, and it's going to be Victory's throw. And that should take us to the half-time break. Victory not in any great hurry to bring the ball back live. Indeed it is. So the half-time whistle goes. Still waiting on a first goal of the game. And even though Melbourne Victory did most of the attacking, they ultimately only had 1 shot on target to show for it. Western Sydney Wanderers perhaps finished the half the brighter, but it is Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Melbourne Victory 0. And we understand this is due to a power outage in the entire suburb of Blacktown in Sydney's west. And so I'm not sure exactly what the briefing would entail here from the referee. The lights may not be usable here in the second half, but if we kick off right now, Leah Blaney, I imagine the game will be over by about 7:50 local time, and I think there should be, based on the days we've had recently, enough natural light for all to be okay getting to the full-time whistle.
I believe we do have enough daylight in the day today for that, and what's going to be important for those two captains in terms of receiving that messaging is that they focus on the game that's right in front of them and just continue as is.
So the second half kicks off, and Alexia Apostolakis plays the ball down the right side for Western Sydney Wanderers. Scoreless this one if you have joined us, and there is the new sub, Sophie Harding, into the game, coming on for Sheridan Gallagher, the only change for either team so far. And now Claire Hunt plays a back pass all the way to Jordan Bloomer. Ball cleared out to Danica Matos. Now Keir on the ball for Western Sydney. Clears it just in the nick of time. Glancing header on by Harding. And the ball is played back. So we suspected it could have been potentially a cork for Sheridan Gallagher, or just a knock to the outside of the leg there, Leah. But how does the Wanderers' attack change, replacing Gallagher with Sophie Harding?
We know that Sophie Harding is rapid, so we're going to see, again, continued high energy with forward runs in behind by Harding. My concern would be in terms of who's up there to actually hold up the ball and be that more target forward for this Western Sydney side.
Yeah, it's a good point. The main weapon of Harding is straight line speed rather than necessarily protecting the ball. Here's Beth Gordon playing it to Liv Price. Harding is in the middle as Apostolakis tries to get out to the right but just can't run down the ball in the nick of time. Looking at the other available options on the bench for Western Sydney Wanderers, their backup keeper today is Sham Karmas, Amy Chisari and Sienna Silvestre, a couple of 16-year-olds, and Ella Abdul-Massi will make it a trio. So a very young and inexperienced bench, but players that you would have coached and known plenty about, Leah, given your experience integrating some of those faces into the youth national teams.
Yes, definitely lots of youth on the bench at Smith's disposal today, which she can employ at any time to have an impact on this game.
Melbourne Victory, by contrast, their backup goalkeepers Miranda Templeman and then Tiff Eliadis, Sarah Rowe, Paige Zoyce and Maya Markovski. So no real recognised defender there on the bench. Eliadis can do it at a pinch. Right now, though, Madsen trying to steal a march here and is cut across by Claire Hunt, who puts it behind for a corner. And think back to the first half, Victory had that spell of 4 corners in a row. That was right when they were on top, so maybe they can resume applying the pressure here.
And we know how dangerous this Melbourne Victory side can be on attacking set pieces. So in terms of that momentum, as an opponent, it's not a space you want to be in.
Jeff Hopkins, the coach, watches on as Alex Chidiac will step out the run-up. 6th corner of the game for the Victory. And Chidiac delivers left-footed, dropping it on the head of Madsen, but it bends away from goal rather than towards and is cleared by Malia Steinmetz. Well, in that situation, you normally expect it to be goal-bound, but it just popped up with a lot of backspin.
I think it was Kayla Morrison on the end of that. We're going to see that in the back of the net. Excellent delivery there by Victory. She needs to head that down and towards the goal.
Madsen now trying to deliver in at the near post and held onto by Jordan Bloomer. All right, let's have another look at this corner kick.
It's whipped in at an excellent height in a dangerous zone. She's just got to, again, time her jump and head that down towards the target.
A low ball nearly arriving with Bolden. Knocked away by Tatham. And now Morrison, a long ball to release. Madsen caught behind Hunt here, though. Twisted all the way back to the goalkeeper. Firmly struck pass. Keir's got to work here. It's been given away. Privatelli. Madsen's on the alone in the middle, and the ball, it's right in the keeper's airspace. And that was a potential mess there for Western Sydney Wanderers, but Leah Privatelli couldn't make them pay.
I definitely think Western Sydney Wanderers are off the hook there in terms of Bloomer's decision-making with her pass. I touched on in the first half, playing the ball the right side of your teammate and some communication that the pressure is coming.
Well, Lauren Keir would have had that sinking feeling as the pass just sailed beyond her, but Leah Privatelli wasn't able to pop the ball back over to an unmarked Madsen. Here's a glancing touch from Bolden. Harding was nearly through. Bunge did well going to ground, but Wanderers have still got numbers. Price is dangerous from range. Liv Price cuts onto the left, doesn't shoot. Steered it sideways, and Nash was able to get in the road. And Liv Price, we saw her score an amazing goal from outside the box against Melbourne City just over a week ago. On that occasion, maybe a little bit unselfish.
We did, and I think she's got to back herself in that moment. We know she's technically excellent. She strikes the ball well. Use the left foot there.
Game's starting to become a lot more end-to-end. Really broken play at the moment. Gaps to exploit. Alex Chidiac trying to capitalise for Victory at the other end. Now Alana Murphy. Biding her time. Murphy. Here's Goad. Victory now loading up the numbers in the box. A slip from Hunt. It's headed away by Matos. Madsen with a volley and held on to by Bloomer. Madsen didn't quite catch it how she would have hoped. And even though it looked promising off the boot, it just didn't have the energy through the air.
And that's an excellent strike by Madsen. A poor clearance by Western Sydney, but the technical ability of Madsen there to make sure that she strikes that. You can see the dip on that ball. It's good positioning by Bloomer.
Matos's clearance. Bolden made the ball her own. Now Chisari hits it long, hoping for Harding. Second ball is Tiff Eliadis's. Rowe. Bit of an awkward back pass here. Harding able to pinch the ball. It's 2-on-2. And now Serena Bolden. Is this Wanderers' moment? Saved by Dumont.
And that's a fantastic opportunity for Western Sydney Wanderers. I dare say Dumont right now is explaining to her Victory backline that we don't want to be in those positions where somebody like Serena Bolden is able to get shots off. She's going to be demanding greater amount of pressure on Bolden when she's having to take that strike, as well as Morrison diving in.
Well, the square ball from Rowe is what left Morrison scrambling. Here's the resulting corner. To shouts of quick from the sideline from the coach. Beatty Goad trying to shimmy around Apostolakis, but the cross can't beat Claire Hunt. And Hunt now out of defence. Found Bolden out to the left for Steinmetz. And Malia Steinmetz has the left flank to herself. Wants to jag in, closing the angle, compressing the field. Slides it to Harding. Harding on the left. And it's held onto by Dumont. A shot on target, but definitely not good enough to beat Casey Dumont.
Definitely easy pickings for Dumont. She's positioned well to take the strike. It isn't in an area of the goal that's really threatening or difficult for the goalkeeper.
Eliadis nods it back. The clearance into the middle of the pitch. Dangerous. Here's a chance for Wanderers. Harrison. And now Apostolakis onto the ball. Tatham stands strong and knocks Apostolakis down. It's going to be a free kick right at the edge of the area. Well, a late chance for Western Sydney here. And Nat Tatham, no protesting, but I don't know, to the naked eye, it looked like a good challenge. Let's have another look on the replay.
Yeah, as you can see, Apostolakis is travelling at max speed. Tatham does take out Apostolakis before looking to win the ball. Well,
this is quite the moment. The 16-year-old Sienna Silvesca, she's called off all the teammates. Is this the moment that Wanderers leave with all 3 points? Silvesca! So close! All that talent, all that potential, and almost the perfect free kick.
And it's a decent strike by the youngster, and I love that we're calling on a 16-year-old at this point in the game to take the game on her shoulders and potentially win it for Western Sydney. She's just overhit, overcompensated a little bit too much.
And the referee generously allowing almost an extra minute beyond the allocated 4. You'd think that's it. You'd think we're getting our first 0-0 stalemate of the season. Not for a lack of trying from both teams, but ultimately they have to settle for a point. Wanderers go 4 unbeaten, and Melbourne Victory, well, they consolidate 4th spot, but they hardly separate themselves from a very eager chasing pack. And if anything, it's perhaps reflective of how much higher Wanderers standards are getting, that they're disappointed at full time. It ends at Wanderers Football Park. Western Sydney Wanderers 0, Melbourne Victory 0.